What secrets can a floor plan truly hold? Find out after the title. Well, hello and welcome to Trash with a Capital T, where we give trashy books and movies the love they truly deserve, and some deserve more than others. I'm your host, Bobby. New videos are posted here every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you like what you see during the video, give me a like. Makes me feel good and helps the channel. And if you don't want to miss any of my videos, subscribe. Okay, so all that out of the way. A while back, I did a review for Uketsu's Strange Pictures, and I really enjoyed it. I had a few quibbles. I have quibbles with everything. I read, I don't think I've ever read the perfect book or the perfect comic or seen the perfect movie, but I enjoyed it. And I generally enjoy the Japanese style of murder mystery. I think the way it's done is it feels very classic, but also at the same time with that uniquely Japanese twist. And Strange Pictures did really hold to that. It's very old school. It's very investigative focused. We're not getting a lot of action, but the story is very twisty and turny. And because it's Uketsu, there is a use of visuals throughout the book to really build out the mystery and give the reader a tool to help them solve the story along with the characters within the book. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoy reading a mystery where you, the reader, can also experience the mystery as the people trying to solve it. So after I'd finished that, I go to look for Strange Houses, which is the second mystery that Uketsu had released in English. Because these books were originally written in Japanese. And while I was doing that, I found the manga adaptation, The Strange House. So I decided to pick this up instead and just see. I was looking for a good manga series. I'm going to alternate between manga and manga. I don't know, my Midwest voice, my Midwest palate automatically wants to flatten all those A's. I try and fight against it, but sometimes it's not going to happen. So I decided to give the manga adaptation a try. I've been looking for a good manga to read for a while. I was trying out a bunch of series at that time. I'm still trying out a bunch of series. And I got hooked on this one. I got absolutely hooked. And so now I'm doing this review because I just finished the first, let's see if I can pick this up without causing a big problem. The first 5 volumes, which actually covers the entirety of Strange Houses. Volume 6 is actually going to be covering the next Uketsu book, Strange Buildings, even though it keeps the Strange House name for the manga. And I chose this, and I ended up going with this because while you still have plenty of the tell not show here, because it's manga, you can tell and show because we are able to visualize when characters monologue, when they're speculating, what are their thoughts, what is something, like we can see things as they are narrated because you can fill the panels with everything that's being described. You're not just relying on the dialogue that is written. You get a great visual medium to kind of let this all play out, which ended up making the story so much more interesting to me. It also made it more horrific. It really does bring the horror to the forefront. There is quite a bit of not extreme gore, but there's some gore in here. There's some good old blood and guts that comes up. This has a 15 plus rating from 7Cs, and I definitely think it applies. But I enjoyed having that horror brought to the top. You really get the grittiness of what's going on. Now, a lot of what you're seeing is what characters are speculating is happening, but it doesn't make the impact any less. So the general plot of Strange House, or The Strange House, or Strange Houses. I think the movie is called Floor Plan. The general plot is a reporter, while looking for a story, ends up coming up with a floor plan for a normal-seeming Japanese house. If you hear a dog barking in the background, I have a puppy. He is 6 months now, and he is trying to get the other dogs to play, and he is not happy. So you might hear little yaps. He's a little corgi. He doesn't so much bark as he screams. Okay, back to the book. Anyways, this reporter comes across this strange floor plan. It's for what appears to be a normal Japanese house. It's not big. There's nothing grand or special about it. It's quite average, except there are these strange passageways and rooms that don't have exterior windows or doors that don't really make sense. And as the reporter and his friends start to uncover, because this is a dude, by the way, start to uncover the story, then speculate what's going on, they realize that there might be something more going on that might tie back to murders in the area. And to a Japanese family with a long history and tradition. And you get all of this twisty, turny darkness. And in the end, you do actually get a good idea of what actually happened. Although not everyone's motives are clear. You do understand what actually happened. And I will tell you right now, it's more twisted than anyone could have speculated within the story. But during the investigation, we learn so much, it all starts to make sense, even though none of it actually really makes sense in reality. The motivations of people are based on superstition and myth and family legend and the power and damage that can do to people. There is actually a quite dark emotional core to this. And using the manga format really allows that to build out. You are able to see as speculation becomes more solid and more understood, and as they gather more evidence, all of the talking, all of the flashbacks, flash forwards, what could be, what ifs, all of that becomes more clear. And by the end, we get a full realized picture. And it all plays out in such a way that it is quite emotionally effective. And I don't think I'd have the same emotional reaction if I was reading it, because the visual medium allows me to connect with the characters a little differently, and it shows their emotions instead of just relying on me to speculate it. It gives the depth to the characters that you really can't get from like a letter that the character wrote, because they're moving through so many plot points. By allowing the panels to give us a little more breath and room within that letter, we're able to see this history play out in such a way that it does get to you. And there's a character throughout this that starts out as monstrous, and as you learn who they are and the reality of what they've lived and the horrors that they have been forced into, they become so sympathetic. That happens with several characters throughout the entire series, and I really appreciated that. The final volume does have a little bit of an emotional punch to it. Not to the point where I was like choked up or crying, but I felt it. I felt for the characters that were involved, and these are characters who really don't play out a lot within the actual world. It's all in speculation and history. And it's very well done. And Uketsu's storytelling works very well in the manga format because Uketsu likes to use visuals to build out their mystery. And there is a mystery. It's not simple. This isn't a simple like whodunit. There's a lot of pieces going around. There's a lot. It's like, why done it? Why has this happened? Why was this built? Why is this way? It's all of these whys, and we learn a majority of them. It is satisfactory. Like, it is satisfactory. There's satisfaction in the end of the story. Sorry, my words are kind of getting jumbled up here. But I really, really loved the depth that you do get with the story. And I'm sure it's there in the novel as well. But I think the manga is a very unique experience because it blends the visuals that Uketsu likes to use with the gorgeous visuals by Kyo Ayano. And the manga does look great. The panel layout is perfect. The flow through these volumes is wonderful. You move through quickly, but not too quickly. The panels are big enough where you can take everything in. The dialogue is smooth, and everything that's there is what is necessary. It doesn't feel overwritten. It really, really is well paced. And that is something I truly love. If you've read or listened to any of my other manga reviews, that is something that is key to me when I'm reading a manga or a comic book, is that flow, that mix of the dialogue and the text with the rest of the visuals and the way they work together. I don't ever want them to push against each other, because I've read manga where there is almost no dialogue and it's all just panel, and I don't get enough depth because the art really can't carry it. And there's other ones where I have read and the dialogue and the description we're constantly in the character's head and narration. It's so much, it's overwhelming that the page becomes cluttered and unreadable, and the pace of the manga becomes painful. This has that beautiful balance that you're looking for when you want a good manga, and that carries throughout the first 5 volumes. And as I said, this is the first arc for The Strange House. The second arc starts with volume 6, which will be out by the time this video comes out. I am filming this a little early, so it's supposed to be coming out in July. I'm definitely pre-ordering it when I have the chance. I really enjoy this series, and I had been looking for a manga series that I could kind of get my teeth into, and this is definitely that series. So, obviously, I recommend the Strange House manga. Now, if you've read the book, I don't know if it will work out the same for you, because the mystery's kind of spoiled for you already. That's actually why I chose to go with the manga over the book, and I didn't try to read them at the same time. And I probably will not go back and read the book because I know the reveal and the journey has already kind of been taken for me. I am debating reading Strange Buildings before getting into the manga, but I might just stick with the manga. And actually, the manga version of Strange Pictures is also coming out. So if the way I've described the story here works for you, you might, if you have an issue with being overwhelmed by too much dialogue or slow-paced mysteries, you might choose to go with the manga edition. And Seven Seas does a wonderful job publishing them. They all look beautiful. It's clean, clear, beautifully published. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. It doesn't need to be a super long review. So, highly recommend Strange Pictures. And if I do stick with the manga through the next story arc, I'll come back and do a second review for that set of volumes. General housekeeping. New videos posted every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you liked what you saw during the video, give me a like. Makes me feel good, helps the channel, and subscribe so you don't miss any videos. And as I always try and say, and usually screw up, love what you love, enjoy what you're reading and watching, and have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.